Ms. Castillo, was there a lot of crime at Sierra Townhomes?
Yes.
Objection is lacking foundation.
Was Sierra Townhomes a safe place for residents and their guests?
No.
By the time the jury watches this videotape, they will have already heard about some crime against residents and their guests, but I'd like to ask you about crime involving employees of Sierra Townhomes. Did Sierra Townhomes at one time have a maintenance guy named Damien?
Yes.
What was Damien's title and what did y'all call him?
He was a punch tech for Sierra Townhomes, and basically what he would do is complete apartments, punch them, and get them ready for move-ins.
Did y'all call him D or Damien, or what did
D.
you call him? Was D ever the victim of crime at Sierra Townhomes?
Yes.
Tell us what happened.
He actually didn't show up to work one day, and when I got home, I called him and I kind of asked to see if he was okay. He then informed me he was held at gunpoint at Sierra Townhomes, and that's why he left and he didn't return back to work.
Excuse me 1 second. Let me object to the form of the question, number 1. Number 2, lacking foundation. Number 3, clearly calling for hearsay.
At the time that D told you that, was D still on the payroll for Sierra Townhomes?
Yes.
What did D do after he got held at gunpoint?
He left the property.
Did he keep working for Armand Sultani or not?
Yes.
Tell me what happened, how he kept working for Armand Sultani.
Armand actually placed him at another property.
Another property that Armand controlled?
Yes.
Objection as to form. Leading and lacking foundation.
Was the other property that D went to the extent that you know, another property that Armand Sultani controlled?
Yes.
How do you know that?
I called D to kind of make sure he was okay, and he told me Armand placed him at another property.
Did Armand Sultani know that D had been held up at gunpoint on the property of Sierra Townhomes?
Yes.
How do you know that?
I called him and told him myself.
You told Armand Sultani?
Yes.
Did you know a courtesy officer at Sierra Townhomes by the name of Lassiter?
Yes.
Or were you aware that Lassiter was eventually fired by Armand Sultani?
Yes.
Well, before Armand Sultani fired Lassiter, was Lassiter ever a victim of crime at Sierra Townhomes?
Yes.
What happened?
He was held at gunpoint and he was jumped.
Did Armand Sultani know that Lassiter, the courtesy officer, had been jumped and held at gunpoint?
Yes.
Excuse me. 1 objection as to form, lacking foundation.
All right. Let me ask the question again. You can keep your objection because I'm not entirely sure what my question was. Did Armand Sultani know that the courtesy officer, Lassiter, had been held at gunpoint and jumped?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Angry residents would come into the leasing office and inform him of what happened or what occurred during the weekend or during, after business hours when the leasing office was closed.
Excuse me. Objection hearsay.
How do you know that residents told Sultani about Lassiter being held at gunpoint and jumped?
I was in the leasing office. We would stand in the lobby or stand in the actual office, and residents would come in there and let both of us know that, that's what happened.
So did you overhear the conversation where residents told Armand Sultani that Lassiter had been held at gunpoint and jumped?
Yes.
Same objection calls for hearsay.
Our response to the extent it's required will be that it shows notice is offered not for the truth of the matter asserted. We've talked a little bit about Lassiter. Was Lassiter what Sierra Townhomes called a, quote, courtesy officer, end quote?
Yes.
There's been some dispute in this case about the job of a, quote, courtesy officer, end quote, versus what a security guard would do. So let me ask you this. Was Lassiter mostly focused on security or mostly focused on other things?
Other things.
Like what?
Handing out letters, checking for the lighting at the property.
Did Lassiter, who was what Sierra Townhomes called a courtesy officer, confront people when people were shooting off guns or committing crimes at Sierra Townhomes?
No.
Objection foundation.
Let me run it back, and Mr. Casey, you keep your objection.
Thank you.
Did Lassiter, who was what Sierra Townhomes called a, quote, courtesy officer, end quote, confront people when they were shooting off guns or committing crimes at Sierra Townhomes?
No.
How do you know that?
He would write on the courtesy officer logs, and we would highlight it, and that's it. He also came into the leasing office and told us that he is not going to confront him because he did live on site, and we had the young thugs hanging there.
Did, just to make sure our pronouns are clear when we play this, are you saying that Lassiter came into the security office and said he would not confront folks?
Yes.
Was Armand Soltani aware that Lassiter would not confront folks?
Yes.
How do you know that?
He would come in there and we would have courtesy officer meetings, and it would be Mr. Lassiter, myself, and Armand, and we would discuss any of the crime that kind of happened at Sierra Townhome. He then told us he's not going to confront anyone. He would write it on the logs, and then we would give it to Armand.
I want to ask you some questions about Armand Soltani credibility or truthfulness, but because of the way the rules are written, I don't want you to give me examples just yet. If the defense lawyer wants specific examples, he has the right to ask for them when he asks you questions. So right now, let me just ask you this. In your opinion, is Armand Soltani an honest, truthful, and credible person?
No.
Around Sierra Townhomes, did Armand Soltani have a reputation for being honest, truthful, and credible?
No.
What was Armand Soltani's reputation with regard to whether he was honest, truthful, and credible?
The opposite of being honest. He was not honest at all.
In your opinion, was Armand Soltani honest, truthful, and credible, or not?
He was not.